The following is a summary of a portion from the book, Have You Truly Been Born Again of Water and the Spirit, which is Book 1 of the sermon series by God's servant Pastor Paul C. Jong of the New Life Mission. Thus, all people are sinners. We are fundamentally sinners destined for hell, continuously committing adultery through our actions, thoughts, and spiritually. However, the woman caught in adultery was saved from all her sins by God's grace. This woman acknowledged that she was a sinner deserving of hell. Christian Sermons 4. Who is granted God's grace? All people commit sins. All people commit adultery. However, not everyone is judged for their sins. Then who, despite committing sins, is granted God's grace and attains the blessing of salvation without undergoing judgment? Romans chapter 4 verse 7, saying, "Blessed are those whose lawless deeds are forgiven, and whose sins are covered." In John 8, there appears a woman caught in adultery. She was caught in the act and therefore had to be put to death for her sin. The Pharisees and scribes placed her in the midst and tested Jesus by asking, "Now Moses, in the law, commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say?" John chapter 8 verses 4 to 5. Contrary to their intentions, Jesus replied, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." John chapter 8 verse 7. At these words, those who were ready to stone her were convicted by their conscience and departed one by one. Thus, all people are sinners. We are fundamentally sinners destined for hell, continuously committing adultery through our actions, thoughts, and spiritually. However, the woman caught in adultery was saved from all her sins by God's grace. This woman acknowledged that she was a sinner deserving of hell. However, the Pharisees and scribes who left Jesus, refusing to acknowledge themselves as fundamental sinners bound for hell, did not obtain the grace of salvation from Jesus. In other words, these Pharisees and scribes did not hear Jesus say to the adulterous woman, "Neither do I condemn you." John chapter 8 verse 11. This woman obtained the blessing of salvation in Jesus. Why did Jesus say to this woman, "Neither do I condemn you"? It was because Jesus, who came as God's Lamb to save humanity, underwent baptism from John the Baptist, humanity's representative and the last high priest, whereupon all the sins of the world were passed on to him, including the sins of this woman caught in adultery. And because Jesus would bear all these sins to the cross and endure judgment by shedding his blood to eliminate them, he said that he would not condemn the adulterous woman. How about you, dear brothers and sisters? Have you become one who has obtained salvation by acknowledging yourself as a sinner bound for hell and believing that Jesus is God, and through faith in his baptism, blood on the cross, and resurrection, he has eliminated all the sins of the world, including all your past, present, and future sins? Have you become one who has received these words of blessing from Jesus? "Neither do I condemn you"? If you acknowledge that you have not yet become one who has been granted these words of blessing, neither do I condemn you, please visit the New Life Mission website. Please make sure to read Book 1 of Pastor Paul C. Jong's sermon series, Have You Truly Been Born Again of Water and the Spirit, available as an e-book and audiobook, translated into all languages worldwide and provided free of charge.